Carl and Lou here from Brrraains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial.com for short. And it is, of course, track by track. Making their debut on this series, it is Butcher Babies with their album Goliath. Their debut studio album by the heavy groove metal band. It is Butcher Babies, released July 9th, 2013 in the US and July 22nd in Europe. Still always blows my mind when I see those dates back in the day when you used to fucking stagger releases, resulting in a ton of piracy. Because, of course, a gap of, what's that? That works out to be 12 days. If you really wanted to hear this album, you couldn't in Europe. You had to wait another 11 days. Well, you just pick it up then on some illegal sites, right?
I'd like to know the reasoning from someone that actually works in that.
Oh, it's good. It's just about distribution and stuff like that and things, you know. I don't know, was 2013, were we high into streaming then? I mean, how successful were streaming services then? I don't know when Spotify came around. Obviously iPods and things like that were around, but were there streaming services? You know, iPods were initially, you put music on.
I think I still had my iPod then.
I would have, yeah. I loved my 128 gigabyte classic back in the day. So I used to absolutely. I think even when they were going out of fashion, I still loved that so much that I kind of kept it. You know. But yeah, it's Butcher Babies, a band I'm aware of, a band I've heard a song here and there of, but truth be told, never heard anything that's kind of grabbed my attention and made me go, ooh, I want to check this band out. I remember when they first sort of showed up, the major focus was on one thing and one thing only, which is how they looked and how they, the provocative stage outfits and stuff like that, the look they went. That's all I ever heard about them, and, you know, I've never given a single solitary shit about that aspect of things. Sex sells, you know, in the sense that, you know, and there's an argument to be made that, you know, they're taking advantage of that market, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, absolutely, because even if they were, you know, dressed, I don't know what you want to call it, conservatively, they'd still be judged on the looks because people are arseholes and stuff like that. So to me, it makes no bloody difference. But musically, never really found anything that connected with me, and I certainly have never listened to a full album. Now, you know, we'll say here that part of the reason why we decided to do this in a track by track is because we're going to see them live for the first time, or at least the first time I'm sure of. I vaguely think I've caught or seen a little bit of them at Bloodstock, but I can't remember it well enough to know. I think they're the main support. Yeah, they are the main support to Fear Factory on their big tour at the end of this year, 2023, as of the time of recording.
That's why I suggested it, because I thought they were like sleaze rock. I didn't know they were, maybe because I did maybe judge on the outfits and go, oh, they're kind of more of a sleaze rock band. On the flip side of that, like sex sells as well. Like that could just be how they dress normal. Like that's their personalities. So they might not be. I don't know. You might tweak it up a little bit, but if that's generally you quite glamorous anyway.
Yeah.
That's who you are, and you just play metal, but it's obviously quite a big focus. But yeah, I didn't. It's
a subject that I would hate to have to really debate and so on, that kind of thing, because without really knowing the people in question, who am I to say or do anything like that? But I come back to the same thing. I don't care. No. I don't care. I really don't. I'll judge you on your music, which is what we've done here. Yeah,
because I'd never heard a song by them. That's why I was completely like.
Okay.
So, not thing at all.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk for each track on Goliath, and we start with I Smell a Massacre. Wanting clearly, I think, to come out hard and heavy. You kind of got to look, although there would have been singles released, you got to look at this as a person who might have picked up the album. This is the first thing they're hearing from Butcher Babies, so you're coming out hard and heavy. It is a groovy blast of energy to get the blood pumping. I like the heaviness of it, and it's got some really beefy riffs, but I'm not completely sold on the cleaner vocals that appear in the chorus. That I didn't know that side of Butcher Babies existed. I thought they were kind of aggressive all the way through, but the two vocalists traded off aggressive vocals.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realise one basically did the growls and one did the cleans. I presume that's how it is. I haven't actually looked to see who's doing what. But considering there's two vocalists, I would presume that's the case. But I wasn't really sold by the cleaner side of things.
Oh, so I didn't mind that.
Okay.
Not a bad style. A lot of energy. I really like the fast drums. It feels like one they play live.
Yeah.
It feels like it's.
I Smell a Massacre kind of feels like, I could see that being. I could see it maybe, aside from newer music, opening a show.
Yeah, some of the lines they sing, I'm like, that's a definite live song for me. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay, this is good. I was expecting like below, like subpar, like sleazy kind of rock, half-assed.
Okay.
So
well, you got a surprise then.
Yeah.
Magnolia Boulevard. Boulevard shortened down. This one has a nice chaotic feel. A pit opener for sure, and the vocals are really strong here. The fire and the fury is evident, and while it does have a meathead flavour, I like the taste of it. Even the chorus, which has the same problem as the previous track for me, but there's a bit more catchiness to it here, so I kind of get along with it a bit better.
Yeah, it's more like Meat and Potatoes, kind of Pantera-ish.
It's groove metal.
Yeah.
When I say meathead, I mean it's like stomping, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Pantera-esque. These guys are heavier than I thought, which is a good thing.
Yep.
It sounds like In This Moment singer at points. Have you ever heard this In This Moment?
I know of the band, but I wouldn't necessarily be able to familiarise myself with the music.
Tracks, and the vocals really stand out, and I had to kind of Google to see, is that the same person? But it's not, it's a different person. Some nice head-banging moments, like you're saying, it's got that kind of meatiness to it that you kind of go trot along to. Yeah.
CH818, CH818 brackets gasoline.
Yeah.
I presume I'm supposed to say that away.
Yeah.
The vocals are also really good here. The intensity is right at the forefront. The interplay between gutural and clean vocals work for me really well here. However, this is a bit bland overall because the instruments. This isn't very interesting. There's nothing really interesting going on instrumentally.
I can see why they're popular. Like, it's a good hook. I like the different vocal styles, and I think they work really well together here. But overall, again, all these tracks kind of blurred together a little bit. So
that's going to be a major problem for me as we go on. Grim Sleeper. Appreciate the darker tone. And now we get some really bone-crunching guitar groove. However, and there's a lot of howevers with me constantly through this, that chorus is terrible. It is basic bitch stuff, man. Get in the bin. That's it. It's the chorus ruins this one for me.
I like the chunky riff beginning, but then it tails off for me. I say once it gets into it, I'm like, no, I didn't like that. It's not awful, but just not doing much for me. I think that's what it is. Like, it's just, if it was on a rock bar, you wouldn't like throw your pint out and leave the pub. You'd be like, oh, it's just on.
Yeah, I'd forget it immediately. I'd forget it immediately.
Which is kind of like not what you want, but better than like saying absolute shit.
Yeah, I suppose you can look at it that way. Yeah. Title track, Goliath. Speaking of groove, this one has it by the bucket load. Nice and heavy, vigorous and vengeful, frantic and furious. I really like this one. It's nice to see them vary things up by going really heavy and guttural in the chorus this time.
Nice fast opening to this one. I really like the meatiness of it. Bassy riffs and good pace. I was like, oh, it kind of got my attention a lot. I didn't have to go back and re-listen to parts to go, oh, I didn't really get that on board with that. This one I was like, that's straight in my top ones of this album. So.
Just 1 inch away from murder. Your tongue is cheap, better heed to the warning. I'm doing it once, trust, I'll do it twice. I recognize the warning.
In Denial. Finally some elements of guitar experimentation, even if it is very brief here. I really struggle to find a hook in this one, aside from the aforementioned experimentation, which does return, but then it gets buried by everything else.
I like the calmer moments in this one. Some of the lyrics, it felt like a bit more personal. I quite liked actually hearing them. I like the aggression in this one. So, but yeah.
Give me reason. Nothing complex about this one. It's a brash number with focus on singing over screaming. Nothing wrong with that, but I don't think the Butcher Baby's strength actually lies there. That's why I kind of realised it here. I was like, for me, the strength lies elsewhere than the kind of cleaner singing aspects.
I think we agreed on that one. It felt a bit fillery for me. Nothing special on this one. It moves along nicely enough, but just a bit. I would have cut that one.
Yeah. The Mirror Never Lies. I'm initially taken with the abrasive guitar sounds and enjoy just how frenzied the vocals are here. This one lit a bit of a spark in me. And while again, I come back to the same problem, I don't really like the clean singing. However, here, and I say it for the whole thing, it doesn't offend me. Like, it's not so outrageously bad or rubbish that I'm like, oh my god, it ruins tracks for me. It's just when it hits that I'm like,
yeah.
You know it's gonna be a long ride, and I'm telling you, stay inside. You know
I like the build up in this song to the more intense parts. Like when it really kicks in, you're like, oh, it grabs you. But I want something more. I feel like it gets to points and then it's just back to the same old tribe routine, and that's not enough for me, I feel.
We're up to Dead Poet. I like the stompy groove of this one, nice and aggressive with some really cool vocal interplay. The melody drop is brief enough not to annoy me, and when it comes back, it is carnage. So that's where I can be positive about that. It's like, initially I was like, no, they're doing that melody drop thing again. But it's brief and it comes back in quite in carnage, basically. It's a solid effort that shows how well this style works for them.
I like the vocal styling's all layered. I feel like when they work really well, it's a really good thing with these guys. Really nice groove. I really enjoyed this one, actually.
There is good stuff on here.
Yeah, it stands out.
I think that's an important aspect to kind of remember. Bear in mind, we're coming from this as well from people who've never listened to a full album. In your case, don't even know if you've heard a song.
Not even
Me, I know I've heard a few.
Yeah, like Bloodstock, I didn't think I'd stopped at all.
Vaguely, I think I might have just been in passing. I don't think I've stopped either. The Deaf Surround. I think I'm running out of steam though with this album, as this track does nothing for me, and all I can think of is saying here, like the problem is when it comes to note writing, it's like, oh, it's heavy. There's nothing wrong with that, but nothing to take note of either, in my opinion.
Don't get your thesaurus out. What's the word for heavy?
Yeah, you end up just writing, oh, it's heavy, it's groovy, it's noisy, you know?
Yeah. I like chunky riffs in this one. It's nice and heavy all the way through, which I liked. Like, it's quite intense. So I like this one. So we differed on that one.
And finally, it is Axe Wound. I've enjoyed the overall album more than I expected. And the problems I have with it are things I expected to have anyway, if I'm honest. There was no point where I was like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened, or this happened, and so on. So it was basically just nice to hear them go out with a groovy bang. That was it for me. Nothing really much to write about. It was like, oh, it's fine.
I thought this one was didn't really stand out, and I would have ended with the one before.
Okay.
To be honest, I would have thought the last two tracks round.
Okay.
I felt this one had a bit more. Didn't have as much pizzazz to end on. So
yeah, I mean, I didn't write the fact I didn't really write much about it and kind of instead covered the whole album in the final thing. I think kind of speaks volumes to suggest that I didn't take much away from it. But I'll be honest, man, I'm not taking loads away from this. It's not that my opinion hasn't changed because I didn't know enough before and to really have an opinion. And at least now I can say I've got an opinion. If someone said to me, well, what do you think of Butcher Babies? I'm like, well, yeah, they've got some good songs here and there, but it's a little too meat and potatoes for me. Yeah. Overall, it's just a little bit like, and I think there are other bands potentially doing that better or more interestingly anyway. But bear in mind, this is a decade, at the time of recording, is a decade-old album. I'd be quite interested to contrast this with a modern Butcher Babies album.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's 10 years they've been around.
Yeah, so there might be quite very different things and stuff like that. You can let us know in the comments, are they really still sounding like this? But yeah, so, I have more of an opinion now than I did before. And it's not one that's based on negativity. I wouldn't really, I just wouldn't say anything bad about it. But part of that comes from because I don't care that much still.
Yeah, but I think seeing them live, different sort of...
It will be interesting.
Different opinions, see them as well. Knowing a few more tracks might make it a bit more enjoyable. Electric Ballroom. So I want
you say that, but let's be honest, man. Unless they say the track titles at the start,
yeah, we're not going to know.
I'm not likely to remember a lot of this.
Setlist FM.
Do you see what I mean? Like, unless they go right, and this is I Smell a Massacre, I'm like, oh yeah, all right, yeah. Or this is, this is Magnolia Boulevard. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to take that side of things more than anything else. All right, 3 tracks to recommend.
So I did Goliath, Dead Poet, and The Deaf Surround.
Well, pretty much the same on all of it. Goliath, Dead Poet, but I put Magnolia Boulevard as my third one. I think it's fair to say Goliath is probably, we'll both agree, the one to go. The title track is the one to go check out if you just want to listen to one, really. But Dead Poet's worth a go as well. I think the other one clearly is up to you. Really, we've got different taste. But it is Butcher Babies, and that is Goliath, the debut album. Got any thoughts? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website, where reviews, news, and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at GBHBL. Just search for GBHBL and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.